There are moments in life that arrive without warning, quiet, ordinary moments that suddenly crack open a truth you didn't know you'd been running from. It happened somewhere above the clouds, in a cramped airplane seat, as turbulence rattled more than just the metal frame. It rattled 2 lives. One belonged to a woman who thought she had lost everything. The other, to a little girl who believed she could save the world with a cookie. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected connections, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. Maya had boarded the plane with trembling hands, her newborn swaddled tightly against her chest, and her 2-year-old daughter, Lily, clutching the hem of her worn jacket. She moved quickly, hoping no one noticed the exhaustion pulling at her shoulders or the red marks that told the story of too many sleepless nights. She had spent her last paycheck on the flight, the only way to return home after losing the small apartment she had been barely managing to keep. Her life had unraveled quietly, thread by fragile thread, her job gone, her savings depleted, her dreams fading. She hoped that going back to her hometown, though humiliating, might at least give her daughters a chance. When she reached their row, she breathed a sigh of relief. A window seat. Space to hide. Maybe no one would mind a crying baby or a restless toddler. But the truth was, Maya's hopes had become delicate things, too easily broken. As she settled in, Lily climbed onto the seat beside her and opened a tiny box decorated with a cartoon bunny, revealing chocolate chip cookies she had been saving since earlier that morning. She stared at them with innocent delight, unaware of the turbulence in her mother's life. Maya brushed a strand of hair behind her daughter's ear and forced a smile. She didn't have the heart to explain hunger in grown-up terms, how it made choices feel sharp and heavy. The passengers around them settled in with practiced ease, business travelers scrolling through emails, vacationers adjusting neck pillows, college students flipping through playlists. Maya felt painfully out of place among them, like an intruder into a life she used to imagine for herself but never reached. Then the murmurs began. Someone important was boarding last. It didn't matter to Maya. Important people didn't live in her world. But she noticed the shift in the cabin atmosphere, the way whispers followed the sound of polished shoes approaching. A man in a tailored black suit, tall and impossibly composed, walked down the aisle with quiet confidence. The arrow of a flight attendant's gaze followed him as if marking significance. He had the presence of someone used to owning rooms without trying. He wasn't looking for his seat. He wasn't looking for anything, really. Until Lily's small voice carried through the cabin. She had looked up, cookie in hand, and spotted him approaching. Her eyes widened with the same wonder she reserved for sunsets, puppies, and new crayons. The men slowed, not expecting attention from a toddler. Maya froze, not wanting any trouble, wishing her daughter's curiosity didn't always open doors she wasn't prepared to walk through. Lily held up a chocolate chip cookie toward her mother first, beaming with pure joy. Maya smiled back, blinking away the sting in her eyes. And that was when everything shifted, when Lily turned, lifted her little hand toward the stranger, and offered him the cookie instead. It wasn't the cookie that made him stop. It was her smile. Her sincerity. Her lack of hesitation. And then came the question, spoken softly, but loud enough to halt the world around them. If I share my cookie, will you stay? The men blinked, taken aback. People didn't often offer him things without expecting something in return. Certainly not something so small, so pure, so undeserved. Maya felt her cheeks burn. She apologized quickly, her voice tight with embarrassment, explaining that Lily was just being friendly. But the man knelt down to the toddler's eye level, something gentle flickering across his expression, and thanked her as though she had offered him gold. He found his seat a few rows behind them, but Maya could feel his presence, calm, steady, like a subtle shift in pressure. She didn't think about him again until the baby started to cry 30 minutes into the flight, her stomach knotted with panic as Lily began to fidget restlessly. She tried soothing both children, her heart sinking as passengers turned to glance, some with impatience, others with thinly veiled judgment. It was then that the men appeared again, standing quietly at the end of their row. Maya froze, mortified, expecting a complaint. Instead, he asked softly if she needed help with anything. His voice wasn't stern or annoyed. It was warm. Understanding. Maya insisted she was fine, though her hands trembled. But Lily tugged the man's sleeve and announced, loud enough for half the plane to hear, that Mommy needs a break. If humiliation were a blanket, Maya felt wrapped in it entirely. Then something unexpected happened. The baby stopped crying, completely, as the man gently extended a finger toward the bundle in Maya's arms. The infant latched onto his hand and relaxed instantly, as though comfort recognized comfort. Maya stared, stunned. Lily giggled, enjoying the miracle. Something unspoken passed between Maya and the men in that moment. Not attraction. Not obligation. But recognition, like two people standing on the edge of different cliffs but sharing the same horizon. Passengers softened. Even the flight attendants' expressions warmed. Suddenly, Maya didn't feel alone, even if she didn't understand why. The hours passed with surprising ease. The men returned to his seat but checked on them discreetly, offering quiet support in moments Maya didn't think anyone noticed. Lily soon fell asleep clutching her bunny cookie box. The baby slept peacefully against Maya's chest. For the first time in months, Maya exhaled without feeling like she was falling apart. When the flight landed, Maya gathered their things, bracing for the reality waiting below, uncertainty, joblessness, the weight of starting over. She did not expect the men to approach again, suitcase in hand, determination in his eyes. He asked if she had transportation. She admitted she didn't. He asked if she had a place to stay. She hesitated, then admitted they'd be staying temporarily in a distant relative's small home. Her voice cracked with the shame she tried desperately to hide. He paused, thoughtful, as though piecing together parts of a story she hadn't fully told. Then he handed her a business card, not with arrogance, but with sincerity, and explained that he ran a company dedicated, among other things, to supporting single parents entering or re-entering the workforce. He told her there were programs, childcare, training, job placement assistance. He told her she didn't have to do everything alone. Maya felt her heart stop. Then rush. Then stop again. She almost refused out of instinct, self-doubt whispering that help wasn't for people like her. But then Lily tugged her sleeve and whispered, "He stayed because I shared my cookie." The men laughed softly at that, and something inside Maya cracked open, something she had cemented shut after too many disappointments. She took the card. Days later, after much hesitation, she called. Weeks later, her life no longer resembled the quiet desperation it had been. She received training. She received support. She found a job she never believed she was qualified for. She found stability, something that once felt like a luxury. And through it all, the man who had once been a stranger in a suit became someone far more significant. Not because he had money. Not because he had power. But because he showed kindness at a moment when Maya believed the world had none left to offer her. Lily remembered him as the Cookie Man, telling the story of how sharing a cookie changed everything. And Maya let her tell it that way, because in a sense, it was true. A cookie. A smile. A moment of innocence that melted walls fear had built. Years later, Maya would look back at that plane ride the way people look at miracles, not loud or dramatic, but quiet, soft, and world-shifting. And she never forgot the men who stayed. If this story touched your heart even a little, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us reach more people with stories filled with hope, humanity, and second chances. Before we end, please comment below, kindness changes everything.